Hey guys, and welcome back to Fortune Theory. So as you can see, I'm still a cheapskate, and so we've been filming for the whole. So before you think we don't ever shower, we've just been filming like the last 4 episodes. This being episode 4, since the start, all in the same locations, just for us to get used to the setup, really. So for this iteration, we thought we'd talk about Baby Driver today. So that will hopefully make a lot of fans happy. We had the idea when we were discussing like what ideas we were going to do when we were talking about like Need for Speed like 2 episodes ago. We thought we'd spice things up a little bit by talking about Infinity War last episode. So we'll talk about Baby Driver. So Pat, you're probably the bigger fan out of that. I mean, I've seen the film and I love it.
We've both seen it once. And
but you're the bigger fan.
So. I'm going to wrap frame while I'm doing this for a second. I think and we can go into this after we talk about our opinions on it. I loved it. Like when first time I watched it, because I was Edgar Wright for a start as a director. He's known for that sort of like crash cutty, like almost comic booky. It's funny how we're literally last episode was Infinity War, and it's a comic booky style, but it's not about typical comic content. That's just the style of the editing and the pace of it and everything, and that's what I loved and what they brought to this sort of like heist racing idea of like what happens in that type of world and that story. And I loved it. I loved the characters, the character development, obviously, Baby, and what happened to him and everything. Obviously, go watch it. I think it's on Prime. Well, I know it's on Amazon. I don't know if you.
I think it might be on Prime. I'm not sure.
I don't think it's free, but it linked
I think
below
it
anyway.
was, but yeah. Well, if there is,
actually no. I know it's on. I think it's been on. It's been on both. It might be on Netflix.
It's on something at the moment you can watch for free if you have an account with
link
one
below.
of these things.
And I really liked it. I thought it was a really good film. It's like Kevin Spacey's really good in it. Baby, like Ansel Elgort as Baby's good in it. Darling by Isa Gonzalez, she's amazing in it. John Hamm, I believe. Is that this? I know John
Bernthal.
You got John Bernthal and you got John. I think John Hamm is his name anyway.
For a little bit of comic book reference, John Bernthal, who played is it John Bernthal?
Bernthal. Yeah, he's like the
can't pronounce his last name.
He mocks Baby all the time. It's like, why do you listen to music for a kid? And he's got the glasses on all the time.
He plays the Punisher, Frank Castle, in the kind of semi MCU Netflix Marvel series, but whether it's canon or not, that's another video entirely.
Yeah, John Hamm and John Bernthal. There we go. And every character is good in this, and I just love the exposition. I love the pacing. I loved everything about it. Edgar Wright didn't fail to impress again as a filmmaker.
I was worried I wasn't going to like it when you and Carl got me to watch it. I watched it and I thought I was thinking feel like it's going to be exactly what I think it's going to be like. Yeah. And then like I got into it, a couple of scenes. They brought in John Bernthal, and it was obviously not because of his Marvel association, but just like that scene, the antagonism, and just the characters like masking stoic of silence. Yeah. Like, and no provocation at all. Yeah. Like, he's dealing with his own like grief and his own like his own dishonorable stuff and whatnot. Like, he's dealing with it his own way, but he's not getting. And clearly, he's like as acknowledging the fact that he's suffering from it, and that's how he's like living his moments. But he's not getting provoked by anything. No. He's not shocked. He's not in a vulnerable state mentally, hugely because of it on a. In exterior level, only interior, which is quite effective, really. And like, I feel like it's one of those things where, like, obviously in animation, I'm probably gonna use this best because it's my best reference. It's like Grommet from Wallace and Grommet, where like he has no mouth, but you know what he's thinking, you know what he's saying. Like that's kind of how his character would. From what I remember,
like animation and features and physical movement.
Yeah, and physical movement. Like his character is kind of like that, especially when he doesn't speak. I feel like. Actions speak louder than words. That definition comes with the character Grommet and this character in the film.
It's the biggest example of show don't tell, and just let the character do their thing, and like no narration, no dialogue. Obviously, if they didn't have like in Grommet's case, but like in this case, he's basically a mute unless he really has to talk. And yet the fact that like there's almost like two main antagonists of the story, the world kind of being one in a way, and obviously you've got.
Oh, I don't count that. For me, it's a physical manifestation.
I mean,
but we'll get into that with our Mid-Earth episode that we'll do with a guest Todd, which we do when we arrange it whenever. We will get into the context of multiple antagonists and also what classes as an antagonist, because to me the world doesn't count, so it's whoever the other character was. I can't remember that.
You got John Bernthal is like that main, because the entire time with Edgar Wright films you never really have your typical like big bad wolf of like, I don't know what what this means.
Well,
like,
I don't even
Hulk
know if they
smash.
can see you. Yeah.
But yeah, you always typically it's like you always have the mocking characters and the characters that aren't nice as being the ones that are the other like antagonists in his films. And John Bernthal did a great job. He's great at being sort of the snarky sort of like almost kid of the group in a way of their like gang and the endings. Oh, and then technically at the end, John Hamm being like Darlin's, like I don't know if he's his fiance or girlfriend or not. I don't think they're married in it, but he becomes I'm not going to spoil it, but he becomes the next antagonist. It ends up becoming two, because it doesn't just have like the one villain, because obviously like it's Baby's story. And even like you said, actually, with the show,
I don't think it's like two main antagonists. I think you've probably got like one of those characters is like a true main, and then another's like a true start off main secondary.
He becomes the true secondary. Yeah,
secondary antagonist
because of what happens in the development of the story, and like what Baby does throughout the story leads to characters revealing like what happens in their true selves, and like because of what Baby does and the circumstances, I'm not going to spoil it, but the circumstances of what happens throughout the story and the development that leads up to why John Hamm's character does what he does at the end, and it just like, and it's a perfect umbrella of shit that happens.
Perfect way to say it.
It literally just what happens. It's an umbrella of shit to do with the heist genre.
Because I've only you've only watched it once as well. Is there like when they're doing the title sequences at the beginning of end? Is that, am I right in saying that's a bit like the Spider-Man ones, Tom Holland ones?
In a way, they're
like
very artistic.
The artism, the animation stuff. Like pink is like a primary color for that. Isn't it?
Because that's another good thing about Edgar Wright is like as a filmmaker, he's very much in. You can feel his how in charge he is of the edit, because from the film physical on set, on location filming and shooting, to literally how he animates his titles, the colors he goes for. Like the opening shot is like a high angle of a building, and they do two like road marking stripes of the road before it like tilts down to see Baby coming out, and it's like all these bits. And interesting thing, now I'll put the clip up now, hopefully, if I remember to. There's a heart when he goes into the cafe and orders the coffees. I think the girl he likes, I've already forgotten her name. Oh my god, it's bad. We're talking about film, I don't know her name. She comes around the corner, and the heart that was like black on the wall outside of graffiti is now red, because he now sees like the love interest in the film.
Yeah, that's like it's like comes out. It's like in that shape, isn't it?
Yeah,
like that's like a CGI, like the mind boggle where you're thinking of something and it's like the cloud of what you're thinking. It's kind of like that.
It's literally that. Like it's and I just.
You feel like you're tripping, but
no, it's like wasn't that just black? Oh, that is cool.
Oh, I get what they're doing there. Yeah,
little bits like that.
I feel like we're probably gonna both watch it again, and it's not gonna be relevant to watch it because we've done the video now. But like we will both watch it.
But Edgar Wright is good like that for just having little. He puts subtle things in places, and he's good at very like crash cutty, comically not comical. Well, comical. Hot Fuzz, it's comical. But. He
my
has
favourite in the
style.
Cornetto trilogy. We'll talk about that in another video as well.
Hot Fuzz is one.
Well, no, sorry. World's End is my favourite in that trilogy.
World's End is your favourite.
Yeah, Hot Fuzz comes second.
Yeah, but I love his style, and he lived up to it in that. But before we finish, Baby Driver 2, because
that's got a name, hasn't it? As well.
Yeah, Baby Driver 2.
Just Baby Driver 2.
I think the name is Baby Driver 2.
Oh, I thought there was a subtitle for it.
That is officially, I think the draft has been written by Edgar Wright and is in the works at some point. What do you think of that? From the standpoint of, you've seen the first one.
I mean, I'm trying to remember how the first one ended, because I think it ended in a way that I kind of turned to Car. I remember turning to Car after I watched it, and I was like, I loved that.
We're all going on about it. Yeah.
I loved that. I really loved that. And along with what's it called, Treasure Planet.
Yeah,
that's like that was the first or second film, either before or after Treasure Planet, where I turned to Carl and I was like, I can accept this on its own.
Well, from the standpoint of where it ends,
from whatever it ended, like, because I must have had the mindset of this works on its own, doesn't need a sequel.
It's gonna be a very odd way to continue it from the end, from going off the ending. It won't. The ending, to not spoil it, was very conclusive, and it basically created
I don't think it'll be like a continuation so much of like what they set up in the first one. I feel like they have to set up a new story in it.
They're gonna have to do that because
that's how they're gonna go about it.
It's how long has it been out?
First one,
yeah,
it's like 2018, isn't it? 2017, 18.
I'm not gonna spoil. I'm not gonna say what happens, but I'm gonna say this to be able to explain why. It basically set up a new path for him as Baby. And
what? No offense, but what name is that?
I know. It's the whole. It's what's great about it, though. He doesn't even have an identification. He doesn't have.
Oh, so that's like an alias rather than an actual name.
Technically, yes. Although, like every other member of the crew and each heist, they all have aliases. They don't go by their real names. But Baby does have a real name, and it is revealed at the end. It's quite a nice reference to his character and the story. I won't reveal it though. I don't want to reveal any, spoilers for this film. Link below to actually watch the film so you can find out for yourself. But I'm going to stop rambling and get back to me. But yeah, not to spoil it.
Because he's mute.
Yeah, as well. Yeah.
Even though babies aren't bloody mute.
They're crying, fucking crying away. But yeah, I'm not going to explain what happens, but Baby is fortunate enough to end up on a good path in the end. And it was very conclusive and it ended nice and it ended really well. And it's because of this new path and what happens to him. And a second one, however they do that, it will either have to be, like you said, it's just got to be a new path in some way. It's got to just, it's going to go back on itself, probably, I reckon.
Something like that, yeah.
Because he went bad, came out good, and what, they're just going to make him bad again, maybe? Who knows, but it's just going to be...
It's the reverse. Yeah. Like, it'll be like the first quarter of the story will be in like reverse, and then he's got to spend the rest of it like reverting back again or something. Maybe.
Unless they carry on from where he left off, well, that'd be pretty boring. If it carries on from exactly where it left off, it's gonna be like half of a boring film, and then maybe if something happens to,
I feel like we can't spend the whole video just like watching it, and like I suppose we could like cut it in part and then watch it and then just come back with more than we know, but I don't know. We probably won't. Do that, I don't expect.
But
which you'll know if you're like at the last like 3 minutes of the video.
But I don't know what's gonna happen with the second one, but I really love the first one, and I hope it. Just watch it if you haven't already.
I only knew about it once. It's honestly not on my mindset because, to be fair, like I like the film, but it's not really like my favorite.
It's not your favorite.
It's not my favorite. It's not like because again, it's standalone. Like
I wonder if your
that retcon's almost what I said. Like I do like the film. I will watch it again.
Yeah.
I have watched scenes from it.
Yeah.
Outside, like just on YouTube, just because I'm interested in it. But like, it's not always on my mind because standalone films never will be just on my mind unless it's like flushed away.
And that's why I wonder, will your opinion? Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen in the second one yet, but. It'll be interesting to see.
But knowing that there's a sequel on the works is actually surprisingly, regarding that topic, the last thing on my mind.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
For once. Because obviously, like I said to Carl, and I remember the feelings, but I don't remember why. I can't remember how it ended, but I was just like, that works on its own. I love that. I don't want to see any more of that. I love that. Yeah. Not because it's boring. I'm not saying it's boring. I probably have the same mindset of you because of the way it ended. It'd probably be boring, but... Yeah. If you remember how it ends and you're wondering if we actually remember, give us a refresh. Write it in the comments. We'll go watch it anyway.
He remembers, yeah.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see if your opinion changed on it, and if the second one when the second one comes out, and if you like it, you might go like, actually, okay, this is now no longer back in my mind. I'll forget because it's like a new like duo.
And by that point, I'll be thinking, well, they need to do a third one now for a pure trilogy because you can't just leave. In my opinion, you can't just leave a film as two unless it's part one, part two. Like, I don't care if they do if they don't do a third It, I'd rather not watch those anyway. But like, and also because they did that based off the whole book, like, you know, that was a part 1, part 2 anyway. So like, you know, there's no need for any more of those. But regularly, most films would require a trilogy if they do at least, even if they have thoughts of doing a sequel, and decide to do it in the end, it needs another one by that point. Like, you know, I'd understand if it's like once you get to like 4, you don't really need to do that one. But like, if you do 2, you need 3, and then just end it.
Yeah.
So that means Baby Driver 2 and 3 for any logical people who've been paying attention.
Yeah. But that's about it regarding Baby Driver, because it works as a great little standalone film. It works as a great film. It's amazing, great casting. I can't remember how well it done at the box office. I think it was fairly well received, but
I think it did really well. Actually, it was like one of the top films of the year when it came out, wasn't it?
Well, it was definitely one of the top films.
It won a few awards as well, didn't it? Its name was on the roster list for like all the awards for the Oscars. I think, was it the Oscars or the BAFTAs? I always get the film thing.
Might be. I can't remember if it won any Oscars. I feel like it didn't, but it might have done. I can't remember. If I can remember, it'll be on screen now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I literally just broke the back of my shoe
while we're talking. But yeah, I love Baby Driver. It's a really good film. I love little standalone films like that, which is the opposite opinion to you. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, and I didn't do it at the beginning, but I'm Oliver and this is Patrick. For anyone who's just joined brand new, feel free to check out our Instagram where we'll be doing updates on like the videos being released. So that's Fortune Theory on my Instagram. The logo is the same as for the channel. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when the new video is coming out. If you're interested, feel free to like and share about to your social medias, your vlogs or whatever. Just like, you know, come follow us if you wish, rather than just scout through YouTube and see what you can find us. But comment, that's if you like the comment.
Hit the notification bell, everything. You know it. Yeah.
But yeah, until next time, I'm Oliver. This is Patrick, and see you later.
See ya.